Welcome back to the Voices of the Revolution.
where we answer your questions based on our firsthand experience.
Today we will be talking about the war in Ireland of the Troubles.
Let's get started.
The Troubles was a conflict in Northern Ireland between Unionists wanting to stay in the UK and Nationalists seeking a united Ireland. Violence between paramilitaries and British forces killed over 3,500 people. It ended with the Good Friday Agreement in 1998.
For our first segment, we will be answering commonly asked questions about the war. We asked our viewers to send in any questions they had, and now we will answer them.
For the most part, people asked the same type of questions. Here are the most informative ones we picked. Let's start off with Aiden's question. He asked, what started the war? The war started due to tension between Catholic nationalists and Protestant Unionists over civil rights, discrimination, and Northern Ireland's status within the United Kingdom.
Next, Kayla asked, why were the Irish fighting and who won the Irish War? The Irish were fighting over whether Ireland should be independent from Britain or remain under British rule. It ended with a truce and the Anglo-Irish Treaty, which created the Irish Free State, now the Republic of Ireland, in 1922.
Zella asked, who was the leader? During the Irish War of Independence, Eamon de Valera and Michael Collins led the Irish side, while British Prime Minister David Lloyd George led the British side.
Luke asked, was the IRA involved? Yes, the IRA, which was the Irish Republican Army, was heavily involved. It was the main group fighting for Irish independence against British forces during the war.
Ivan asked, what roles were played in resolving the conflict? Resolving the Troubles involved roles played by political leaders like John Hume and Gerry Adams, international mediators like George Mitchell, grassroots and civil society groups, and religious leaders who fostered communication and reconciliation. The United Kingdom and Republic of Ireland governments were the main parties in the bilateral agreement.
Lucas asked, was it a civil or a global war? The Troubles was not a global war, but rather a complex ethno-nationalist conflict that was focused on the internal political and constitutional status of Northern Ireland.
Next, we're going to talk about our views on what we experienced during the war. As a Protestant, to my family, we feel as that the peace that followed the Troubles felt less like a victory and more like a stalemate, leaving many with a deep sense of disillusionment. The Good Friday Agreement was meant to bring closure, but instead it seemed to solidify a separate but equal system that acknowledged Irish nationalism while sidelining the unique British and Ulster identity of the Protestant community. Fears about demographic shifts and a perceived loss of cultural status became a new source of anxiety as the Protestant population's majority began to erode.
As a Catholic, I also feel like there is not much change. I feel a lack of trust in institutions and the government. Us Catholics feel as if we are seen as a threat to British rule. The struggle for civil rights, which initially sparked the Troubles, continued to be a significant concern.
From both these points of views, we can see that going through this time there were two obvious different sides with opposing views shifted by religion. While the Good Friday Agreement largely ended large-scale violence, it left behind deep-seated divisions and challenges that continue to shape Northern Ireland's political and social landscape.
We're going to be giving some fun facts. Let's start with Ulster, which was previously mentioned earlier. Ulster was historically an ancient province of Ireland, located in the northern part of the island, which is now divided between Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland. It is made up of 6 counties in Northern Ireland: Antrim, Armagh, Down, Fermanagh, Londonderry, and Tyrone.
Fun fact about my family, my uncle was born during the beginning of the war in Northern Ireland, showing a first-hand account of the whole experience. Initially, Catholics welcomed the British Army. The British Army was initially invited by some to protect the Catholic community from discrimination and violence. However, public sentiment hardened against the Army as their role became perceived differently.
2/3 of its population, about 1 million people, was Protestant, and about 1/3, roughly 500,000 people, were Catholic.
The war helped lead to a revival of the Irish language because people became more interested in the culture they lost during the English occupation.
Overall, in this podcast, we hope you have learned the impact that the war in Ireland with the Troubles had on Irish and many others. As children of a time like this, we see a split in civility as a result of religious disagreements and discrimination. England highly impacted us Irish and divided our country, causing us to lose nationalism and culture. The war, however, strengthened our culture towards the end, as people began to realize how much we'd lost due to the English intervention, causing them to want to revive Ireland and strengthen our pride. This war, due to a split between Protestants and Catholics, did bring many issues, but also shifts in perspective and change. We hope you enjoyed Voices of the Revolution with Kirsten Kettleson,
Isla Cho.
Ella Holler.
And Sienna Coyle.